We don't need Everton or Watford at Wembley. I'm playing with two teams I'm taking over from. I've always wanted to score a penalty against myself. I was telling the camera here. How are you, John? All right?
Yes, fine.
Good. Is that your wife?
Yes. We've had a lovely evening together. Very peaceful.
Lots of Everton fans on board, obviously, and lots of celebrities too. Several of the 66 Cup-winning Everton team are travelling on board that special Everton Express. In fact, we'll be going to the train live very shortly. And let's join Alan Parry now on the platform.
I believe you're all going to the International Garden Festival today, is that right? Now, is this your second visit of the year to Wembley?
Second, yeah. We're getting ready for the third time.
When will that be?
The Charity Shield. We're still getting revenge on Liverpool.
Have any problems getting hold of a ticket?
No. Get them dead easy, like.
Who's Eddie?
I go to all the games, so we'll get them dead easy.
What about these two? Is this your first ever trip to Wembley? Yeah. It is? You looking forward to it?
Yeah.
What do you think the result will be? What do you think the result will be? Not sure. What about you?
4-0.
4-0?
Yeah.
To Watford?
No, Everton.
You're all going to have a good day, do you think?
We'll have a good day. Come back with the cup.
Everton, Everton, Everton!
So the train on its way, not yet within camera range, but our heli-tele will pick it up shortly. And indeed, we are hoping to link up John Bailey from the Everton Hotel with the Bailey family travelling on the Everton special. And we should be able to do that very shortly because they're due to connect up with our heli-tele.
So what's your message to John?
Have a good game for Dad, John, and bring that medal home.
Do you think he's going to have a good game today, girls?
Oh, yeah, definitely.
The sister-in-law's got a special message for you here, John. She's had a bad night.
John, I've been up all night worrying about your lad. I've only got eyes for you.
Got news for you. That's the best she's looked all day. We'd better let everybody else into a little secret because although you're all wearing blue and white, you are, in fact, a bit of a divided family, aren't you? Let's tell the truth now.
Half and half. But I've swayed over to the blue side.
It's been a good trip, this, hasn't it?
Oh, it's been great. We'll enjoy it.
She's dead to Liverpool.
You honestly tell John you've been behaving yourselves as well?
Oh, yeah. Of course we are. It's all about coming home now.
So will you be seeing him later in the day?
No, tomorrow.
Tomorrow, with the cup?
Hopefully, yes.
Final message from Mum, eh?
Cheerio, John. Have a good game, lad. See you tomorrow.
Cut. All the cousins must be in the next one.
There we are, the Everton Express speeding on its way to Wembley. One or two hiccups there as they went through the countryside, but John able to talk to that large family. And by the way, I gather one or two of the family, in fact, are very, very strong Liverpool supporters, but obviously not today.
Oh, here we go, here we go, here we go, here we go, here we go.
Well, very shortly we'll be hearing that from the Wembley terraces.
Let's go back to Mark.
Yeah, just do your eminence. Yeah. Are you hearing us, Pat?
Is that big names, is it?
Hello, Pat, are you hearing me?
Point of fact.
Return journeys. You know, I haven't been on the successful side yet in the FA Cup. But what we're doing is now is looking forward to today and hope it's successful.
Chap out there wants to hitch a lift. Have we got any room on the coach?
I mean, look at them. I mean, the players have really got a very close affection with the fans, and I think that more than anything, they'll want to do it for them today.
There's a story well checked.
The Watford fans seem to have got here early, but the Everton fans, there's a vast support for Everton, and as I say, 14 years since they've been here, they've been in the shadow of Liverpool, and they will make the most of it today. They're turning out in the thousands.
I think they must have come here in the Milk Cup with a certain trepidation facing Liverpool, and wondering that it might be a day that ends in terrible disaster for them. But it didn't, as it turns out. I think they could be much more relaxed about the way they're approaching it today. They are something special, and I think it's worth saying in the Milk Cup final, repeating again how marvellous it was for everybody to see Liverpool and Everton fans together.
Sure.
Linking arms and so on, as the players did at the end of the game. And you just have to hope. I think both managers have said that. Let's hope there's great dignity tonight, today, the way that both these sets of supporters behave. I'm sure that's going to be the case.
I feel there will be, Brian, because both sets of supporters have got a very good reputation, haven't they?
Took something away from it.
See, they've been in the shadow of Liverpool so long that they're so desperate for success. I think the atmosphere today will be as good as you'll ever get at Wembley. You know, they really are going mad. Look at that. There's a Celtic supporter in among. I think they're the ones without the tickets.
Yeah, and in fairness, a lot of them probably with no jobs to go back to. I mean, they've made a huge sacrifice to get down here, but this is a day they wouldn't miss for anything in the world.
Well, when you think of the thousands of kids in Liverpool that don't have jobs,
and I think you have to
really
think of that.
Desperate. But they've saved it off the gyro checks, and they're down.
Well, the police are fairly evident there. They might well need every one of them to get that coach through the masses up Empire Way. I should think now, if they've looked very relaxed, but I would have thought it's now they begin to realise the job that's got to be done. Is that where you start?
Doesn't it just? As you come down that the way there, you just begin to start to feel it. It's when it hits you. You see the Twin Towers in front of you, and you think to yourself, well, this is it now, we're here, and there's no going back. And the old tension does start to mount from then on in. It's quite remarkable, that, really. It's just that side of the stadium in the coach that actually just turns a switch and you're an entirely different person.
If you were never nervous before, that's when you start being nervous.
Well, that's when you really first start to think about the game, isn't it, Ian? You know, up until then, it's been a bit of a jamboree. They've had a good morning, but now they're here. They're at the ground now. And this is what it's all about. The stadium awaits, and you start thinking about the game and what lies ahead of you for the next 2 or 3 hours.
Just look what this game of football does to people, eh?
Well, you feel the importance as a player, what it means to the people. You know, they've travelled, 200 miles to get down here, support you, and you really feel you want to make it a journey to remember, and you don't want to disappoint them.
Yeah. I mean, there is. Let's not beat about the bush. There is the very unacceptable face of football, but that's the one that I think could reduce you to tears almost, Ryan, to see just what it means to
people. If we could get rid of the idiots, and get football back to being, the supporters' game, it'd be marvellous, because I mean there is a terrific feeling in football between the teams and the supporters, and I just wish we could get back to the days where you could come to the games in peace and support your team and talk to the fellow who's sitting beside you if he's wearing a different scarf than you, and then go home and see if a marvellous day out.
But this is lovely scenes, because, as you say, it speaks for itself. Now, this is the good side of the game, and everybody at home is watching it, and they can see what a really marvellous advert it is for the game. We get so much of the other side thrust down our throats now, we all begin to believe that it's probably more people involved than there really is. There is a very small minority that makes it very difficult for everybody, but just look at that. Look at that. It's an incredible sight.
With one aim in mind, going to the game and hoping to see their team win. Now, when they get to the Wembley dressing rooms, they are fairly gaunt, clinical sort of places, aren't they?
Surprisingly enough, they are, Brian. You imagine that they're going to be really luxurious and carpeted, everything that one would wish to see in dressing rooms. They're not. They're very sparse. They're very high ceilinged. They lack a lot of atmosphere, really, and they are quite. I think if it wasn't for Wembley on the occasion, it would be quite a disappointment.
Imagine they've revamped them,
I know they've revamped it. Well, they've revamped all dressing rooms now.
New linoleum down.
Have they put new lino down now? Have they?
Right, looks as though some of the Everton fans have thinned out a little bit now. Quite unusual. I think they only came down yesterday, didn't they? I mean, the old traditional thing was you'd come down 2 or 3 days before the game, but I think they trained up in Liverpool yesterday.
Well, Howard was telling me when I was up on Wednesday that they were going to treat it just like an ordinary Friday night away to London, you know, for the league matches. So they've learned, I think, over the years, and we all learn over the years about coming down and going in hotels too early. The tension starts building. You're eating hotel food that you're not used to. You know, if you were at home, you'd be having, you know, beans and toast, and then you go to the hotel and you're eating 3-course meals. So it's better to bring them down one night in a hotel, and then, you know, you're at the game.
I think the players are much more comfortable with that arrangement themselves, Brian. And modern transport, of course, has made all the difference now, hasn't it? Motorways, etc. It doesn't make it such a problem.
With the White Horse Final, Jim.
Aye.
Do you know when that was, Jimmy?
Do
you know when it was?
Yeah, 1921.
23.
23, West Ham versus Bolton Wanderers.
Correct. On this very
David
stadium.
Jack scored the winning goal.
Is that so? Yes.
Yes.
Bolton won it, and
There was
200,000 people got in.
200,000 people in here, yeah.
And I would tell you, I wouldn't mind betting that there aren't far short of 200,000 people in the Wembley and the surrounding districts, those who've got tickets and those who haven't.
Well, of course, that day it wasn't an all-ticket match, was it?
Well, my lad has come down today for the game with his mate who's an Everton fan. You know, my lad's a Liverpool fan, obviously. He came down with his mate, and they had no tickets. You know, his mate didn't have a ticket, so they're coming down, and hopefully they might be outside running around with him trying to get themselves tickets to
That's
get in.
what you've done with my gantry pass, is it same?
I tell you what, we must go back.
Why you wanted my gantry
We must go back to that Everton coach and Peter Brackley.
Well, we're coming now towards the gates, and Howard.
The players will leave the coach there, then the coaches go away and they return right at the end of the game. The police having just a little bit of bother there. I think 1 or 2 very enthusiastic fans, but as they always do, the police horses will win in the end. Superb moments, and what a gentleman Howard Kendall is, and what an excellent manager. And he was under extreme pressure, as any man must be when his job is on the line, as his certainly was in the early months of this season. And Peter Brackley was talking about it. I think you have to pay an enormous tribute to Phil Carter, the Everton chairman, who, with his board, stuck by the man that they thought was right for the job. Howard Kendall has proved them right by bringing them here twice in the season and given them a very respectable second half to the season as a whole, and have now off trousers.